So I've been making zero waste videos on this channel for quite a while now. And there's always been this little thing in the back of my mind that felt a little weird about it, and I didn't say anything, but today we're getting into it. Hey team, welcome back to another Levi Save the World Hildebrand episode, the channel where we prove that you don't need to be a hero to save the planet. Today we are going to be talking about my issues with zero waste culture, and we're going to be giving you some alternatives to try out instead. This video is created in partnership with Bill Gates and is inspired by his new book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster. You can learn more about how we can all work together to avoid a climate disaster by checking it out through the link down in the description below. So the reason why I've decided to make this video is because I believe that there isn't really a way for you and me to be completely zero waste, the way that the world is right now. We live in a really complicated modern society filled with international trade, political jousting, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't fully understand. If you're going to make a choice in your life to benefit the planet, then that choice has to make sense within the context of the world that we're living in right now. Let me explain. See, in order for this to work, a bunch of different factors have to come together to work at the same time. And that doesn't always work super well. First and foremost, we need government regulations in place to make sure that everyone is working together towards a sustainable future. But really, we need business to make sure that we are making products that are reducing the amount of waste that's created when you buy stuff in the first place. And then we have to rely on people like you and me to do the right thing and make those actions to make a difference. This platonic threesome that we have going on here has to work together if we're going to accomplish anything close to zero waste. And so far, that hasn't been going too great. I mean, if the public was more interested and involved in their municipal politics, there would be less to complain about. Like, I'm the one who's supposed to make up for the two of you not being able to do anything practical
if
together.
you're the one slowing everything down. I mean, if you left it up to us, I promise you, we would have this done in half the...
I dislike the term zero waste because it seems like an overly generalized term for something that's extremely complicated. I personally don't like the term zero waste, and if it weren't such a popular search term on YouTube, I probably would have never included it in any of my videos on this channel. But the reality is, if I make a video about reducing your waste and I have zero waste in the title, it will perform better than a video without it. So you may very likely see zero waste tags in videos on this channel moving into the future. But I think we need to recognize that there is a lot of privilege baked into the zero waste community. It takes privilege to shop at various different grocery stores to make sure that you're finding things not wrapped in plastic. It takes privilege to pay more money for products that are more sustainable for the planet. And that's not to mention the fact that there are millions of people all over the world who just don't have the bandwidth to prioritize the planet over their personal well-being. So when I say zero waste on this channel, this is what I mean. I'm talking about a practice for you to live your life intentionally, to live a better life that's also a better life for the planet as well, and doing so in your specific context. What I talk about and the ways that I do things in my life may not apply to you. It might not make sense for you to do the things that I am able to do. We are going to be donating 100% of the money that this channel makes from YouTube to help save the planet. But more importantly, I think it's okay to not feel guilty that we aren't able to do everything all the time, and not judge others when they aren't able to do that either. Reducing your waste is a really important part of how we can make an impact. 31% of our greenhouse gas emissions globally come from the manufacturing and distribution of the stuff that we consume. But I have made a lot of videos on this channel about how living zero waste can reduce your impact on the planet. And that's not what this video is about. In this video, we are going to talk about 3 things that we don't talk about enough in this space online that can really help you make a massive difference for the planet. So let's hop into it. Now, this may sound like I'm putting the onus back on the individual consumer, but remember that Governments are run by people. The decisions that businesses make come down to the people who run them. Sure, I mean, we should all be using our reusable cups. Honestly, if you're not using a reusable cup, start now. But of course, we all live different lives and we have different contexts, so our ability to influence and make changes is going to be different depending on who you are. Let me show you. Number 1, be a spokesperson.
Do you live here? See, if you are an owner or a renter in any kind of building like this, you have a voice in how it is managed. You could be the person who suggests that they convert their old fossil fuel burning boiler into something that runs off of renewable energy, or that's even just higher efficiency. Not only does this impact your personal footprint, but also the hundreds of people who live in the same building as you. Do you work here? Most businesses are driven by bottom line only, but you could be the business owner, the employee, or the manager that makes that difference for the future. I'm not saying you have to put your job on the line, but you could just ask a few questions. Or you can just be an outspoken member of your family. Just talk to your mom and dad or your brother and sister about what you think is important, and you might be surprised at how receptive they really are. Leah and I made a whole video about this, which you can check out down in the description.
Number 2, get involved with government. So perhaps you're not a spokesperson, although I would argue that you might be. Getting involved with local government is one of the best ways that individuals can make a difference in their lives without making a whole YouTube video about it. Leah and I actually have a personal story about this. Leah and I voted on a plastic bag ban in our city and watched it get enacted into law. This is the first time that Leah and I had actually been involved with anything at a political level, and they put out the call asking for video submissions to help promote the new measures that had taken place. Of course, Leah and I made an awesome video which won, and we were awarded a cash prize for our efforts. Leah and I took the winnings from that video and hosted a massive beach cleanup to give back to the community, and then donated the rest to Surfrider. Surfrider was actually the organization that pushed the local government to make that plastic bag ban in the first place. Also happened to be run by people, just like you and me. What do you know? So not only did we personally benefit from getting involved, but we helped prevent the disposal of 17 million bags to date. So yeah, it might seem lame, but it can have a huge impact. Volunteer for local organizations that advocate for the things you care about, participate in city-led initiatives, and vote whenever you have the opportunity to. Please vote. 3. Be an early adopter. Being an early adopter means that you are using your purchase decisions to have the maximum impact possible. Basically, you're a trendsetter, and you're not afraid to pay the money to do it. These are the people who bought the first Teslas, the ones who put solar panels on the roofs before it was cool, and support any cool new brand that's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible. This is a common term used in a theory called the diffusion of innovation, and basically the idea is it charts the adoption of a certain technology within a population. The early adopters are the ones that prove that this is a really cool, valuable idea to the rest of the population. This stage is incredibly important for businesses because if a technology doesn't reach that mainstream population, there's a low likelihood of it ever succeeding and creating the positive environmental benefits that they promise. Leah and I are kind of like early adopters in some sense. We pay extra money for zero-waste swaps and products that use new materials, and some of that we show to you. And maybe one day down the road, we'll be making bigger investments in products and brands that we think are making a difference. So I'm not saying that zero waste is useless. Anything that you do to reduce your impact on the planet is going to make a difference, and it's awesome that you want to do that. In fact, it's essential that you want to do that. But holding it up as the standard ignores a bunch of really awesome things that we should all be trying to do to help save the planet, and it can be pretty ignorant of people's lived experiences. See, we need people to be active at all different levels on this journey. I'm probably one of the more extreme examples because I have a YouTube channel dedicated to this kind of stuff. Leah and I are in a position of privilege, so that's why we decided to give away 100% of the AdSense revenue that we generate on this channel. Not everyone can do that. That would be crazy for many people who are not in our specific context. But what that also means is that just by you being a part of this team, a part of this community, by liking these videos, by commenting on them, by sharing them with your friends, you're helping us make our impact even bigger. So thank you so much for being here. And a huge thank you to Bill freaking Gates, who's helping us maintain this channel so that we can do stuff like that. But regardless of where you are at in your zero waste journey, I want to thank you for watching this video, for taking the time out of your day to spend some of it with me, because I know that I really appreciate it. And of course, if you are subscribed to this channel, then we will see you in the next one.
What I'm saying is that we don't need to fight about it. We can just make rules so that you can't do certain things and other people can. It's worked for millennia. Excuse me?